Hello my dear friends, welcome back to another Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. Lucasfilm has just made a very peculiar decision. For fans of Solo: A Star Wars Story who are hoping one day there was going to be a Solo 2, you may have just been given a sign of life. The announcement doesn't pertain to movies or TV shows, but it is a hint they want to do more with those characters and the time period, with an explicit connection to the 2018 movie. Unfortunately, Solo was a bit of a box office disaster, but it wasn't because the movie itself wasn't good. It was due to growing backlash from The Last Jedi. But for years, fans have been saying there was a lot of potential there, with Kira, with Lando, and of course, with a live-action return of Maul before his Rebels death. Well, as we know, there is going to be a Lando movie, which was originally going to be a Disney Plus TV show. We don't know when it's going to be set, if it's just after Solo, or if it's going to be during the Mandoverse post-episode 6, we really don't know. And they've given recent updates saying it's still happening. Maybe we'll find out at Star Wars Celebration, but I wouldn't hold my breath. But today, my dear friends, we have a different Solo spin-off announcement. This one isn't even a movie, and it's not even a TV show, but it's a comic book and a VR game, virtual experience, or as they call it, a mixed reality playset. It's called Star Wars Beyond Victory, and the exciting thing from my perspective, because I'm a prequel trilogy fan, is they've given us a new look at Sebulba during the time period of Solo, and that's going to be unveiled for the first time at Star Wars Celebration in Japan. The whole thing is pod racer focused, and we have this brand new character of a new species, Follow Bolus, who looks like a reptilian version of the Ardenian species, the same species as Rio Durand, who featured in Solo: A Star Wars Story. So we're getting a bit more Star Wars underworld, and I just want to touch upon the Sebulba stuff. There are some saying this is our first post-prequel trilogy look, but that's not true. It's already confirmed he lives post-episode 6. That's right, Sebulba was around after Andor as well. Later in the timeline he abandons pod racing, and instead opts for battle racing. He pilots a racer known as Widowmaker. Owing the Hutts a large amount of credits, he ran in dangerous circles, even having connections to space pirates who robbed the supply lines of the Rebel Alliance. And did you know, my dear friends, Sebulba's appearance in Star Wars Adventures, and now this game and the comic, could be the precursor to appearing in Lando, because he did have a canon run-in with Calrissian. I guess they're jumping on the opportunity to make the most out of this new technology, and it was developed by ILM. So when it comes to Solo 2, I don't think Lucasfilm is going to do it, just because Kathleen Kennedy seems adamant to throw Alden Ehrenreich under the bus for the 2018 failure. I disagree. I thought he did a pretty good job with what he was given. I get it, he's not Harrison Ford, but that is not the reason the movie failed. He gave us a compelling performance. But as fans, we're always going to associate the likeness and mannerisms of the galaxy's most notorious smuggler with Harrison himself. Kathleen Kennedy learned the wrong lessons from that movie's outcome, and that's why they're leaning into CG so much. There were rumours we might see Han Solo in the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu movie, but don't expect that to be Alden. Lucasfilm seems like they're sticking with the deepfake and the CG, and Alden Ehrenreich himself has said, even though he would love to return, he doesn't think it's going to happen. He doesn't know if there's a world where that would happen. Those were his own words, so I wouldn't count on it, but this is still something, a sign of life. But I think with Star Wars Celebration, fans need something really big. This is much smaller stakes than a TV show or a movie, but fans, unless it's something big and it's confirmed, and there's a trailer for it, and it's something that is accessible to the general audience, which I guess VR isn't, fans just aren't as excited for these kinds of announcements anymore. But I'm here to cover the latest Star Wars news, and that was the big story that was just revealed. I'm keeping my fingers crossed Star Wars Celebration has some of the bigger stuff. It's been a very big week for Marvel, following the Avengers Doomsday announcement, and Star Wars needs something on that level. A good trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu will hopefully give us something on that scale, but overall guys, they need to come out kicking, breathe life back into the franchise, into giving us some hype and some hope. Andor Season 2 looks amazing, that's coming in just under a month as well, but raise the stakes. Give us more than just empty announcements, because Star Wars fans just don't believe Lucasfilm anymore. I have a hunch it's mostly going to be animation, but that's fine too, as long as it's something promising. And staying on the subject, there is something which a couple of you have asked me to comment on, quote-unquote leaks for what's going to be announced at Star Wars Celebration. I took a look at this, and I don't think it's legit, at least not fully. I think a lot of this is fan math, just a guess, based on some other rumours we've had, and I want to give my input. So here's what they say, and like I said, take this with a huge pinch of salt. I've got the lowdown on Celebration this year. Oh, I'm sure you do. No, but seriously, every year there are these kinds of accounts that just have 1 or 2 posts, and they claim to know something and it ends up being probably mostly false. I could be wrong, let's see. They're going all in on animation announcements since live action is going to be a little quiet. This I do believe because after Andor and after Ahsoka, there isn't much, just the movies. So they say the flagship show is Star Wars Underworlds, yes, plural. Heavily inspired by George's original live action show, but not an exact recreation. Premieres in August, 16 episodes. So before we get into the details of this, major red flags instantly, because Star Wars Underworld was the hot topic only a couple of weeks ago, because Rick McCallum and a couple of others came forward and said here was what George Lucas planned, and that was probably on this so-called leaker's mind. So it just sounds made up based on what people have been talking about in recent weeks, not something Lucasfilm was genuinely considering and had been working on for months or years. They say the main plot is Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos rescuing Maul's 15-year-old nephew Day from Knights Brothers or Crimson Dawn, and the fallout from that. He's described as very Damian Wayne. Again, a good guess, based on the fact we know we're probably getting something with Asajj and Quinlan. Some of this might be legit, but I just don't think it's going to be Star Wars Underworlds. They say lots of tie-ins to other projects, Solo, Jedi Fallen Order, Outlaws, Book of Boba Fett, and of course Star Wars Rebels. Basically fills in the blanks between the Clone Wars and Rebels for the criminal underworld, and more specifically. Let's move on. Then they say Tales of the Blank, Seasons 3 and 4 announced. So this is after Tales of the Jedi and after Tales of the Empire. And they say it's going to be Tales from the Light Side and Tales of the Dark Side. There were rumours of a Tales of the Sith, Tales of the Bounty Hunters, Tales of the Clones, and they say they're coming soon. Light Side this fall and Dark Side next year. Light Side's first short will be screened, but I've no idea what it is. That is probable. Whatever this Tales of project is, I'm sure those in attendance at Star Wars Celebration are going to get a first look. Then they say Lucasfilm Animation is launching an open animation competition called Skywalker Academy. And then they say a Star Wars animation YouTube channel. So that's the scoop. I personally don't know how much of this is legit and how much is just fan guesstimation. But who knows? Doing something with Darth Maul's family does sound like something Lucasfilm would put into a new show, but there is no mention of Omega, no mention of continuing the clones, which are things legitimate sources have heard about. But what do you guys think? That is all of the news for today, my dear friends. Are you looking forward to Star Wars Celebration? And what do you think about the new Solo spin-off game and comic? If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, check me out on socials, and may the Force be with you, always.